believe we have more than enough attendees here to constitute a quorum, so let us call this meeting February 5th, 2024 meeting of the Master Plan Working Group to order. The first order of business will be to take a roll call. John Allen.
Present.
Julie Capizzello.
Here.
Bob Carroll. Doreen DeFazio. I believe we were informed that Doreen would not be able to make it tonight. Victoria Duckworth.
Here.
Susan Duvall.
Here.
Lindsay Fox.
Here.
Anne Marie Foley.
Here.
Deborah George.
Here.
Julie Grace.
Here.
Linda Hassinger.
Here.
Justin Hollander. I believe Justin also notified us that he wouldn't be able to make it.
Right.
Brian Houle. Chantel Kimball.
Here.
Essex Petrie.
Here.
David Robbins is here. Sue Robbins.
Here.
There you go. JT Ross, I believe, also informed us that he wouldn't be able to make it. Colleen Roy
Here.
and Roshana Tangi.
Yeah, here.
Excellent. So we have present 15 out of our now membership of 20, as we will get to in a moment. Again, that does constitute a quorum, so we are good to go. And our next agenda item is the first of our action items, approval of meeting minutes. We have minutes available for the November 6th meeting. They were posted to the agenda page this afternoon, I think it was, or this morning, sometime today anyway. I noticed this afternoon. So has everybody had a chance to read those or look at them?
Briefly.
I haven't. Sorry.
Dave, you want me to pull those up? We can take a look at them quickly, or?
Yeah, since yeah,
Sure.
ideally we get things posted more in advance, and for future meetings we'll try to make sure that everybody's aware of where to look for them. But for now, yes, if you want to
Sure.
put them up on the display. I did get a chance to review them.
Okay. So we can just roll call, summary of action items and discussion items and combined, and then adjournment. So pretty straightforward. Deborah helped us out this time with the minutes, which is super, super appreciated. So thank you, Deborah, for doing that.
Thank you very much, Deborah. Very helpful. And somewhere in there, yes, and right, and about the third or fourth paragraph down there where it starts out open space and recreation, second line there, I would put an E at the end of Lake Ripple, but other than that, I didn't see anything to complain about there.
Okay.
I just saw most traveled outside, or most travel is outside of Grafton, but missing the F.
Okay. Let me do actually, got it. Alrighty. I'll scroll a little bit more, so hopefully people can see. If not, let me know. I'm happy to go slower, zoom in more.
Any other questions, comments on the minutes?
No.
If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as drafted with the corrections noted.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, let's take a vote on it by roll call. John Allen.
Support, approve.
Julie Capizzello,
Yep, approved.
Victoria Duckworth,
Aye.
Susan Duval,
Aye.
Lindsay Fox,
Aye.
Anne Marie Foley,
Aye.
Deborah George,
Aye.
Julie Grace,
Aye.
Linda Hassinger,
Aye.
Chantel Kimball,
Aye.
Essex Petrie,
Aye.
David Robbins votes aye, Sue Robbins,
Aye.
Colleen Roy,
Aye.
Roshan Otangi.
Aye.
I declare the motion carried unanimously.
I think somebody, I think Brian has his hand up. Oh, that's. Oh, yeah, probably to let him in. Let me do that now.
Ah,
Okay, and Bob is also here.
excellent.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
Hello, thank you.
Greetings and
Hiya.
welcome. We now have a full house here. Everybody's here except for the three that notified us in advance that they wouldn't be able to make it.
Right.
Outstanding. And we just dealt with the minutes of November 6th. The minutes of December 4th will be available for review at our next meeting. Next action item is to appoint Deborah George as the official clerk of this group.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. And I'm hoping that Deborah is not going to object to this now.
No.
We generally like to make sure that the people we appoint to a position are actually willing to accept it.
Yes.
Great. So moved and seconded that Deborah George be appointed as clerk of the Master Plan Working Group. Any discussion of the motion? Hearing none, we'll put this to a vote. John Allen,
Approve.
Julie Capizzello,
Aye.
Bob Carroll,
Carol's eye.
Victoria Duckworth,
Aye.
Susan Duval,
Aye.
Lindsay Fox,
Aye.
Anne Marie Foley,
Aye.
Deborah George,
Yes.
Julie Grace,
Aye.
Linda Hassinger,
Aye.
Brian Hool,
Yes.
Chantel Kimball,
Aye.
Essex Petrie,
Aye.
David Robbins votes aye, Sue Robbins,
Aye.
Colleen Roy,
Aye. And thank you so much, Deborah.
Sure.
and Roshan Otangi.
Aye.
Declare the motion carried unanimously. You're now
Thank
official,
you,
Deborah.
Deborah.
Yes, thank you.
Again, thank you very much for stepping up. Really appreciate it. One more action item we received resignations from several individuals. Fiona, if you want to just review those for us.
Sure, absolutely. So, just to follow up from the last meeting, we discussed issues with quorum with such a big group, and some folks haven't been able to make it as much as others. So we, I followed up, with a couple of folks, particularly those who haven't heard from, et cetera, and was able to get a formal confirmation in writing from the following folks that they will be removed. So Bruce Spinney, Guru, Jennifer Lewis, Shiva, and Andrea have all confirmed in writing to my office and to the town administrator's office that they would like to be removed from the group. And in terms of follow-up notifications to other departments, I did let the town clerk know as well. And I think procedurally we've covered all of our bases. So I think that'll be taken up at the next select board meeting, but we can still proceed this evening.
Yes. So I don't know if we really need to do this, but I suppose we could formally vote to declare those positions vacant. It sort of follows from the town charter that a vacancy occurs and formally, we were supposed to notify the appointing authority that the vacancy has occurred, so. I suppose just to dot that I and cross that T, I would entertain a motion to declare these 5 positions vacant in addition to the 2 positions that were previously vacated. And that's already been fully dealt with. Fiona?
I think Colleen had her hand up.
Just when we notify the appointing authority, do we want to also include that we're not looking to have it posted to be filled?
Oh, yeah. Good
I
point.
think that would be appropriate.
Okay,
No, normally, you notify the appointing authority of the vacancy, and then the appointing authority proceeds to attempt to fill the vacancies. And I think, yeah, our sense is that while the committee charge is still for up to 27, it is up to 27 members. It's not fixed at 27. So, additional members could be accepted, but we're not asking at this point, we're not asking the board, the appointing authority, to fill the vacancies, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Yes,
All right, so
I move that we accept with regret the resignations of the people that were mentioned.
second.
moved and seconded. Any discussion? And again, we'll follow up the notification to the select board as indicated. With no further discussion, John Allen,
Approved.
Julie Capizzello,
Aye.
Bob Carroll,
Yeah, Carol's aye.
Victoria Duckworth,
Aye.
Susan Duvall,
Aye.
Lindsay Fox,
Aye.
Anne Marie Foley,
Aye.
Deborah George,
Aye.
Julie Grace,
Aye.
Linda Hassinger,
Aye.
Brian Hool,
Aye.
Chantel Kimball,
Aye.
Essex Petrie,
Aye.
David Robbins votes aye, Sue Robbins,
Aye.
Colleen Roy,
Aye.
and Roshana Tangi.
Aye.
Declare the motion carried unanimously. The appointing authority will be notified as indicated. And that concludes the action items. This is one thing about a large group meeting remotely when we have to go through a roll call for every vote, but hopefully we don't have to take too many more votes tonight. We can get on to some more interesting topics. So the first discussion item is a timeline update from Fiona.
Sure. So just a brief update for the group that Seymour PC and the planning department went after an EEA grant and we got it for the master plan, which was nice. There was originally an issue with that timeline. Typically that grant is available through June 30th of 2025, and in the contract it was 2024. So we requested an extension, which also allows us more time to engage with this group, and also just really focus on phase 2 and building out our engagement, and just kind of give us a little bit more flexibility to create a better plan. So that is what I've already spoken to the state about this. They're in full agreement and I signed the paperwork. And this, just because we've extended the overall project, the working group originally I know was planned for a certain period of time. So we can talk about people's availability and if they do want to extend the group as well. But I was thinking just for purposes of the grant and spending that, allowing us to have as much flexibility as we can is certainly helpful, especially considering how busy it is. So that was my update. I'm happy to answer any questions about that before I move on to the next thing.
With nothing else.
That's it, really.
Yeah, okay. So the next item is a request from the member of the public to add the topic of citizen education to the master plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this was a request. There was a participant at the workshop who has also been corresponding with me a little bit. In the meantime, just wanting to know updates about the master plan. I invited them to come this evening. They weren't able to come. They also approached me at the recent business owners meeting that we had at Post Office Pub, asking about this request. They feel very strongly about it, and I just wanted to introduce the idea to this group. You know, obviously with the timeline extension that I just said, that would be something that we could pursue, whereas before that probably wouldn't be an option with having to complete everything by 2024. But I just wanted to talk about the feasibility of that, and I think CMRPC will definitely need to weigh in as well in terms of, you know, because they'll obviously be doing the heavy lifting with the work. But just I wanted to bring it to this group's attention, you know, honor the fact that like folks are engaged. Someone from the public has really come out multiple times, brought this up, and just honor that. So I don't think, you know, I think we'll probably, and, you know, Mr. Chair, let me know what you think about this. What we'll might need to kind of think that through a little bit. This was really just more of an introduction to the idea.
Yeah, I think I'd be, I would want to have us follow up a little bit on thought. What is it? What is meant by that? What is the thought behind it? And where would it fit into the development of the plan? You know, is it, it's not, it doesn't strike me as something that would be along the lines of an entirely new section of the plan. It sounds more like it would fit into one of the sections that we've already defined, and maybe just sort of, a point to add to all the various points and details that folks have already brought to our attention as issues to be examined within the context of the plan. So I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts, but you know, I guess, you know, yeah, flesh it out a little bit more as to what is meant by that, and then kind of go from there. I see a couple of hands up. I'll go from Essex Petrie is the first hand I see on my screen.
All right, thanks. I'm just kind of, I guess I'm curious what exactly this means. When it first came up, I was thinking that they wanted to be a more transparent process where public would be invited to certain meetings and whatnot. But now you mentioning that it could be its own separate chapter or topic in the master plan. I guess I'm not entirely sure what it meant by citizen education.
Yeah, and that's sort of, but I wasn't entirely clear. I don't know whether it's a request to be for the public to be more involved in the master plan, which is more of a process question as we develop the plan, or is it a topic that should be addressed somewhere within the plan? I think those are two rather different ways of looking at it, and so
Yep. Okay.
It's back to me wondering, you know, what is really meant. I don't know, do you get a better sense, Fiona, from that?
Yeah, I think so. This particular person, they were talking very holistically, and kind of at like a higher level. You know, for me, I think this is something personally, and this is not, again, I try not to give my opinion about the plan, how it should be, but it's something that can probably be interwoven throughout the chapters that exist so that we're still on track and moving forward, but also, you know, honoring that request. And as Essex said, you know, the transparent, you know, promoting transparency and, you know, active participation in local government. Because I think that this particular person relayed that they find it's challenging to get involved. It's very difficult to understand what's going on unless you're like the folks on this call who are very well versed in how local government works, most of us. So I think, you know, for somebody new, especially somebody who's recently moved to Grafton, which this individual did just recently move to Grafton, I think they're just trying to offer suggestions about how we can like improve what we're doing. And I think, you know, it was definitely something to consider.
Yeah, Colleen?
So about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, Framingham got a grant to do like an academy to help educate citizens about the ins and outs of municipalities. It never really took off, and once the grant ran out, it didn't really grow any wings. But I also know they recently just hired a citizens participation officer. So maybe just kind of looking at Framingham and seeing how they're including it and interweaving it into their community, and maybe take some steps from their playbook. Yeah,
that's interesting. So this this little discussion here seems to suggest that the idea is more along the lines of, over the long term, what can the town do to facilitate and encourage citizen participation and understanding of local government? And Anne Marie, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, so I guess just Fiona, just trying to wrap my head around, maybe I don't want to reiterate what's been said, but is this just about like general participation in the town, or, versus not specific to the master plan, it sounds like, correct?
Yeah, I think that this particular person relayed that they want to be more involved in general, but definitely want to make that known and make it a goal, an objective, and potentially even an action item in this planning effort. Because now, we're at the point where we're still doing engagement. We still are kind of framing how this plan is going to go to dictate the next 20 years. So I think they just wanted to make a point to say whatever we can do to make sure that we're trying our best to be more helping citizens be involved. But yeah, they did kind of have the point that was like to get more involved in general, not just through the master plan, but use the master plan as a tool to do that.
Excellent. Chantel.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like something similar comes up in many, many, many meetings that I've attended in terms of how best to get the word out. I'm pretty sure it came up in one of the first workshops that we did as a group as well. So I don't know about its own section, but definitely feels like that citizen education and fostering additional engagement is a good thing for us to tackle as part of the big picture.
Okay. Esek, you have your hand up?
Which one?
Yeah, I think Bob was had his hand up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bob.
I only looked through the materials real quickly today, but I seem to recall pretty well down in some of the whatever they are, goals and whatever else, a mention of looking for ways to enhance participation. How to
increase civic participation.
How to enhance public participation. I think we got the base covered. Right. Or it's that anyway. Already.
Yeah, I see Linda raising her hand and Essex still has his hand up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it's an interesting concept to use the master plan to kind of promote that general public participation, and maybe it's a document that exists already, and and maybe can be edited to kind of fit the format of over the next 20 years, what will be some opportunities to get engaged, but just another way for an interested citizen to stumble upon that, there are plenty of opportunities and, ways to get engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Linda?
Going back eons to when we first came into town, and I'm talking about eons, there used to be an after-school adults school program. There were courses offered, believe it or not, in the early days. The thing that this is really out of the purview of this committee, but I really would, this is something I've been sensitive to. People come from all over the country. I came here from a different part of the country. The entire system here is so different from Maryland, utterly and completely. And I've always thought that even every other year, just like in fall or in spring, that it would be nice if we had an adult, if you will, class, just one night or 2 nights talking about how the government works, how the town works, and what you can do to participate in that and be part of it. And it's basically class in civics. And we don't get that anymore. The kids don't get it even. And I know they've been talking about it in the schools, but I don't think this is really part of our mission, but at least saying that that's something we'd like to see is part of the mission of our statement, perhaps. But that's really the solution. You really need to have people come together and have a presentation that talks about how the different parts of the government work and what the individual can do as part of that. So that you really get what the school committee, the planning board, the select board, what John Allen does, what everybody does in the town, and how it really works and what you can do to be part of it. And it's daunting. I mean, you look at, and these people have been here for, Bob and I, 50 years. How do we break into that? And we really want people to break into it, thank you very much, because we're old and we want new people, younger people coming in because they're tomorrow. And getting those people in the 40s and in their 30s, and get them engaged, it's hard, really. And I would love to see some sort of an evening of, here's how your government works. I go to a town meeting, they don't exist in their own town.
Linda. Sue has her hand up.
I just want to say, is it possible, Fiona, that we could have this person come in and talk to us so we have a very clear understanding as to what they really want? Because we can make assumptions all night and not hit the mark. So if they could come in, it would be very helpful to us.
Yeah, absolutely, Sue. I'm going to try and reach out again to this individual and invite them to the next meeting. I did try this time, but they were unavailable. But maybe even if they can't come to the next one, just definitely get something in writing, maybe even. But yeah, I agree. You know, having them here would have been ideal. So I apologize about that.
Yeah, I think we probably gone about as far as we can in this topic tonight. I think there is I am sensing that there's a consensus here that there's a need here that to whatever extent it seems appropriate, we could address somewhere inside an appropriate place or places in the master plan recommendations going forward, that type of thing. So we could refine the concept a little bit more, hopefully, but as it stands, there's something there that sounds like we could probably work into the plan somewhere. Anything more?
Dave, before we switch to the next item, Lindsay has her hand up.
Yeah, sorry, thanks. I just wanted to say, you know, if we're talking about town civics and stuff like that, I don't know if there's a way that we could, you know, do like a video series and put it on the website, or, you know, something that anyone could access at any time, just basics that might be helpful. But, you know, like was mentioned, we don't actually really, it would be great to get the person in here to see what they really kind of want from this before making any more assumptions about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We could spend a lot of time talking about some of the various ways in which we could improve the civic education. You know, help the public understand much better how the town works and what opportunities are for public participation in the town. But you know, we do have we could spend the whole evening just talking about that, because I think most of us are pretty interested in that topic. So yeah, we could do a lot with it, but I do like Sue's suggestion of trying to get a better sense from this particular member of the public as, you know, what they were looking for.
Sure, I'll work on that, Dave, for the next one.
Let's see what more we can find on that. Roshan?
Yeah, so while we will get this individual's perspective, but the kind of things that we are talking about are anyway important to the town, right? So should they anyway be added to the town planning? Because yeah, eventually we need to get our people educated. That should be part of the plan, I feel. So irrespective of what this individual says the definition of citizen education is, the kind of things that we are discussing on this forum maybe have to be included somewhere at the end of the day.
Good point. Yeah, we can definitely look at and at the very least as recommendations in our plan to bolster our zoning, our subdivision regs, et cetera, to be a lot more easy to read, first of all, and clear and available.
Accessible, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great suggestion. Thank you.
All right, anything else on this topic? If not, we can move on to the next topic, which is to finalize the vision statement. So we spent quite a bit of time at our December meeting talking about a vision and what we might want to include or not include in a vision statement, what we can. We've lost my train of thought, sorry. So what we have before us now is we can, what's on the screen now is a bit of a review of what we talked about in December. And below that, there is a draft vision statement that incorporates the discussion that we had in December. So, Fiona, do you want to go into more detail on this?
Sure. Yeah. So I was thinking that the best, obviously we'd like to try and come to consensus this evening. I know we had a pretty lengthy discussion last time, but now that we have everybody here and willing and able to participate, we can build off of all the hard work that was done and hopefully get these get our final thoughts out and really tweak this to make it hopefully, what we decide to move forward with. So Sarah and Elena have brought up the notes from last time, including some questions that were posed. And Sarah, I don't know who's driving the bus with sharing, but if you could just scroll down for me for a second. Yeah, so I think we landed on kind of a wordy vision statement last time, but there was a lot of good ideas. So, I don't want to dictate, the conversation too much. I think we should continue to refine what we were doing. And kind of go from there. Obviously, this is yours, and you should make it your own. So, yeah. With that, I know Sarah and Elaine, if you wanted to add anything else to that before we start chatting.
Thank you, Fiona. Yes, we try to incorporate some of the topics that came up last time into this third version of the vision statement, and what we're hoping for today is. To hear any comments from you on how we could craft the wording of this and hopefully adopt this vision statement today. And some of the topics that came up last time is the issue of diversity of housing, education, and we specifically referred to the Grafton High School mission statement, and the idea was to try to incorporate some of that language. We looked at mobility, transportation. We discussed housing. If you recall, we had a conversation about leaving more specific wording about housing types or the direction of development for the next 20 years. For the goals, and making the vision statement broader to suggest that Grafton is trying to accommodate new growth, to be inclusive through the planning of its neighborhoods, and really get into the specifics later on. We also discussed mixed use, and one of the attachments that David Robbins shared was a really nice overview of how mixed use has been incorporated in Grafton in the past 20 years. So definitely this is not a new concept. It's been put to use, but ultimately there are many factors that have influenced the outcome of that regulatory tool. We also changed the tone a little bit. We really wanted to make it more to reflect the fact that this is your vision statement. It's the town's. So there's a slight change in tone. But yes, if you have any comments, we'll try to word craft this today so that we have something that you can approve and adopt by the end of this. Roshan, you have your hand up.
Okay. Yeah, no, I missed the last one, but the language still is talking about what we are currently versus what we want to be, right? The vision, probably except for the last sentence here, it looks like we're talking about what we are today. I don't know what that was by design that was decided it to be like this, but somehow reading this, it looks like we are saying what we are.
Yeah, I think to that point, there was some discussion at the last meeting about, you know, writing the vision statement in terms of what we expect Grafton to be 10 to 20 years from now. So it's written, and I still have a little bit of mixed feelings about this, but this is written more as a statement of what Grafton will be, not necessarily what it is, but it's a point we need to make sure that we all understand and agree on the time perspective that's represented by this vision statement, and whether it's, well, I'll let someone else chime in and follow up on those thoughts.
Yeah, I should say that what's missing here is in 2043, Grafton will be, so this is prefaced by the 20-year time frame. So once we design the page, that will become clear. It's a fairly conventional way to craft a vision statement, but if the committee feels that we need to change the language to reflect the future, then we could also do that.
Yeah, I think the idea is to say, this is a statement about where we want to be 20 years from now, and just right. You're seeing the text on the screen. It doesn't make that clear. Deborah had her hand up, and then Essek.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that I thought it was actually a good vision statement in that it hit most of the points that we discussed with the general public, both at the farmers market and at the other program we had at the library. So I'm liking it for that. I think when we read the opening statement, our community is a thriving mid-sized town with a small town feel. I feel that statement reflects both at Grafton as it is currently, and also what we heard at community meetings, where what people want Grafton to continue to be in the future. So I feel it covers both.
Okay, Essek.
Yeah, I like the statements, and I think they're all positive, and they're reflective of what we're trying to do. It feels as though it's very meaty, though, just for a simple vision statement. It doesn't feel, it feels like a lot for just the statement, and it feels like we've pushed the goals in there as well. Again, they're all good statements. They tell the story of what we're doing. It just feels like a very wordy vision statement.
Do you think it should be shorter, or it should have?
That was only my thought in that. I think it feels to me like after the first two sentences, the other ones are really detailing, the elements of it, which again, they're good in that I think that they're accurate, positive, and effective. It just feels like a lot to take in as this vision statement. For me personally, when we looked at some of the examples and whatnot, the ones that stuck were the simple, concise, and clear ones. Obviously, these are all important things to include afterwards as breaking out the details of them more. But just to kind of grab the attention, it felt that the simpler ones were more effective for me personally. But maybe that just speaks to me.
Yeah. John.
This is a little bit of a twist, but I think this is a great vision statement. May I make the suggestion that we go ahead, we write the master plan, and then once we have that done, we go back to see how well our vision statement aligns with what the master plan states, and then make any edits that we deem necessarily at that time, because at that point we would have articulated what our vision is for the town.
Okay.
John, this is a common writing technique. Introduction is always written last. So I think the plan would benefit from an approach like that that we at least revisit the vision statement once we have the entire plan.
Elena, if I could just jump in really quickly, I think that we do need to have some sort of guidance as well at the beginning, and then, as you and John just mentioned, refine it at the end. Personally, I just from my professional experience in writing master plans, like having having a good base, and then we tweak based on the findings, right? I think that I just don't want to, I want to make sure that like the project still remains like on course, and that, we're hitting like the milestones that we need to, and then what, we can revisit at the end. Just my 2 cents.
Absolutely. I think, it would be a good idea to adopt it so that it becomes the framework of the plan.
I guess sorry, I don't want to commandeer the conversation, but I guess I'm just kind of thinking logistically about how that would work. Because if we adopt it and then we change it might get a little hairy.
It would, I see it as working much like, we adopt the goals, and it's not uncommon for the goals to change or adjust, not radically, slightly, as the chapters are written. So it's not uncommon for committees to change some of the language of the goals and adopt it again with the chapters. So this wouldn't be derailing. At least I haven't seen it happen that way. It's just a matter of keeping flexibility within the process.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if that's works for the group and for CMRPC, then sure.
Yeah, I would suggest that we probably, if we're all more or less comfortable with, we think of this not as this is the vision statement cast in stone now and we can't change it. I much prefer the approach of this is kind of our starting point. We've spent some time thinking about our vision for Grafton in 20 years from now. And as we work through the development of the plan, I have to agree that there's a good chance that we'll find that, we maybe want to go back and refine this vision statement. I do like to make things as simple as possible, but no simpler. So if in the end we see an opportunity to, simplify this vision statement, after we've kind of worked through a lot of the rest of it, I certainly think we ought to feel comfortable in, we ought to be willing to revise the vision statement as we go through this. But we got to start somewhere, and I think this is probably a pretty good start. It does reflect a lot of the thoughts that we discussed in our December meeting. And there's a lot of stuff that we wanted, that we like, that we want to say. And it ends up being partly a question of where do we say everything we want to say. Right now, this is probably a reasonable starting point for a vision statement. But again, we need to be willing to modify it as we go along, simplify it where possible. We may find that some of these concepts are better expressed elsewhere, and they don't really need to be expressed in the vision statement. But for now, instead of trying to beat this to death, if we can say that this is good enough to go with, that's probably. I see John Allen still has his hand up, and I see Bob Hassinger raising his hand.
I'm not sure why it didn't go down. My hand's not up.
All right, Bob.
Yeah. Yes. This is really what we're going to try to do as we're going to try to build a plan that does these things, or an awful lot of this is what we're doing now and what we're doing, what the direction we're moving. But at the same time, it's also saying we want to continue to go that way and enhance it, strengthen it. How about just saying this is agreeing that this is a working vision?
Yeah.
Or like draft one.
Yeah.
Well, a working guide or vision. the words aren't too important, but I think we've gotten it pretty well down to everybody said everything.
Are you looking for a living document, Bob? Is that correct way of saying it? Living document?
Mhm. If I were a member, I'd move that, but it's better that I not be an official member.
Yeah, so as we continue, Anne Marie, go ahead.
I'm muted. Okay. I move that we adopt the current vision for Grafton statement as a working vision subject to modifications once the plan is complete.
This is Bob Carroll. I second it.
All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll put this to our vote. John Allen,
Approve.
Julie Capizzello,
Aye.
Bob Carroll,
Bob Carroll's aye.
Victoria Duckworth,
Aye.
Susan Duvall. Susan Duvall,
She's connecting to the audio. There must be an issue.
Lindsay Fox,
Aye.
Anne Marie,
Aye.
Deborah,
Aye.
Julie Grace,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Chantel,
Aye.
Essek,
Aye.
Dave votes aye, Sue,
Aye.
Colleen,
Aye.
and Roshan.
Aye.
All right, motion carried unanimously. And all right, we have our first working version of the vision statement that will kind of drive the rest of the work. Let's see, next agenda item then would be introduction to goals development. Fiona, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I think we, CMRPC and I can coordinate this offline and bring it to a future agenda, but I just wanted to kind of, before we officially move on to the next topic, just get an idea maybe from Sarah and Elena about when we plan to revisit. Are we looking at like a few months, probably like a few months out, right? If I had to guess.
To revisit the vision statement?
Right, yeah, we'll probably need to, it'll probably be much later down the line. I just want to set like an expectation for the working group members and not put you guys under pressure either, but
Yeah, I mean,
an idea.
ideally, the committee should have the benefit of having reviewed chapters when, when looking back at this vision statement, ideally, but as we move through the chapters, maybe, we want to do it after 3 or 4 chapters. I would suggest, at the end, when we have reviewed all the chapters and when we get to implementation and we will have thought through who's responsible for what action item. This is when things tend to get real, and this is usually when you gain a new perspective on the goals, but maybe even the vision statement.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure that everybody on the call was aware that it's probably going to be a while before, we revisit this. So perfect. Thank you.
So if we could move on to an overview of the goals. We initially thought we would sort of workshop the goals with a committee and get some suggestions, but I think we're a bit constrained for time today. So maybe we'll just give you an overview of how we think we could structure working on the goals. And you could send us some suggestions by email. So for today, we put together key takeaways for 3 of the chapters. we have a list of the chapters, but we can do them in chunks of 2 or 3 chapters per session. And what we thought we would do is for each chapter, we would start by outlining the key takeaways, having a sample goal, so having language that shows the 3-tiered structure, goals, objectives, action items, and the difference between the 3. And ask the committee for suggestions for main priorities so that we can take these main priorities and develop language for the goals, bring that language back to you and start crafting the work for an action item. I should remind everyone that the way we would ideally work is adopt the language of the goals and work with you on the action items, and objectives and action items. But after we write the chapters, revisit that language and adopt the chapters and the revised goals. We don't expect any major revisions, but again, it's this benefit of having written and reviewed a chapter that gives you a new perspective on the language of the goals. So we wanted to start with housing and population. So we highlighted a few key facts that came out of community engagement. So our workshops, data collection, and some of the stakeholder interviews that we did. And based on those, we wanted as a next step to take some suggestions from you for key topics. Again, I know we don't have much time right now, so if you could send those suggestions by email, that would be probably ideal. But this should give you an idea of what the goals should sound like. So as a first goal for housing, we looked at the housing production plan, and we tried to stay within the goals and strategies outlined in the housing production plan. And naturally, the first goal would be to encourage the production of affordable housing and use regulatory tools to encourage the production of affordable housing. Pauline, you have your hand up, and then Anne Marie.
So as a goal for that one in particular, it says working towards meeting the threshold, but wouldn't a good goal be working towards meeting and maintaining so that people don't think we just reached the goal, we're done, we don't have to work on it anymore. Maintaining is part of that goal as well, so we don't just fall back on our heels.
Right.
Anne Marie?
Oh, I didn't realize I was unmuted. Yeah, thank you. I just had a question. So under key findings, the town is aging and doing so faster than the rest of Massachusetts and the United States. Is that a true statement?
Yes, so this is reflected in our data collection.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
We're number 1.
It's, this is a regional and state trend. This is not at all surprising in Massachusetts.
Sue?
Right.
Could you give me what it doesn't mean the town is aging and doing so faster? What do you mean by aging?
I took that as like we have an increased aging population and that we are doing so faster than not only the rest of Massachusetts, but the rest of the United States.
No, I'm not asking you, Anne. I'm
No, I
sorry.
understand. I'm just hopping on to get clarification for myself as well. Sorry.
Because
So-
when I looked at this, I thought, aging, how? Because how are we aging?
The birth rate, the replacement rate is not, so if you look at the population pyramid, Grafton, the largest segment of the population keeps aging. So right now, I believe it's around 42 for Grafton. No, that would be the median age. But the younger age group segments are smaller than the older age group, and they're not increasing, if that makes sense.
I know
Can't afford to live here.
I know we have more seniors than we do students in town. But there's so many people moving in, it's kind of hard for me to think that we're aging that fast.
Yeah, this is based on census data.
All right.
Is that,
Well, may I throw something out?
what's that?
The replacement birth rate as defined is women under the age, I think it was 35, should be generating 2.1 births or have 2.1 children. As a nation, we're 1.6%, so we aren't even replacing our current population. And Grafton seems to be having less births than the 1.6. So it has more to do with the number of children born to the people living in Grafton as the driving factor.
All right.
Yeah, and the median age keeps increasing as well. Grafton is doing well at the median age is 41 or 42, and it's better compared to neighboring towns, which are around 47, 46. And that may be because of this migration, out of state migration or within Massachusetts.
All right, thank you.
All right, I think Bob Carroll has his hand up.
Yeah, that was just my question too. Which census data is this? Because I think the latest was available like 2021.
Yeah, this will be, so when we started phase one, it was before the 2020 census.
Right. So that may, a lot of these questions that people are asking, the data that we're speaking to here is now, essentially 4 years old. So that's not, necessarily reflective of the current condition and the emigration out of the state, right? And maybe the town. So I don't know what exactly, how we make this more current.
So we will revisit this when we write the housing and population chapter, but when we collected this data, the 2020 census was not out. So this is reflecting population projections. Specifically, these were UMass Donahue population projections, I believe, at the time. And the methodology of that is available out there.
Yeah,
Right, but
Elena,
that's
if I could just-
pre-COVID.
Yeah, no, Bob, I hear what you're saying as well, but I think when the data collection was done, it was really like a snapshot of that point in time, which I understand is a little bit dated at this point, but in order to continue to move forward with the plan, we could be going around and round in circles for a very long time, continuing to update the data. So I think, what CMRPC was trying to capture during that phase one is, okay, here's a timestamp of where we're at right now. And obviously master plans take some time to develop. So we're trying to be cognizant of that. I totally hear what you're saying. And, it's a valid point for sure.
I'm assuming that, when we actually write up the master plan, that the data on which it's based will be included in some fashion, that the plan will cite the sources of the data that was used to draw conclusions.
Yeah, and especially for population, we'll update these as we write the chapters. We won't update the entire data set because we don't have the budget for that. This was an entire phase, as you know, David, the data collection. But we will make key data sets, we will update those.
Any other, I know I saw a couple of other hands going up and down on this topic. Anybody else wanted to chime in at this point?
I think Lindsay has her hand up, Dave.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify. So this information that's here this is just kind of, what we're working on to craft statements. Like this is just, is that what we're looking at right now? This isn't like, this isn't verbatim going into the plan or anything, right?
No,
It's
these
just
are
kind of the findings.
These are basically key takeaways that combine our community engagement with data collection for
Right.
specific topics divided by chapters, of course. And it's also you know, a way to anchor ourselves and our thinking into some of the key facts that came out of our preliminary work on the plan. But ultimately, the language we use is going to come from the priorities that you suggest to us, and we also include in this, in the goals language.
Okay, so what we're looking at here are the some key findings on the topic of housing and population and one sample goal. So this is one of probably several goals that would come out of this. Correct?
That's right. This is a sample goal to, you know, to illustrate how we're crafting these goals and how we will be working with the language and the difference between a goal, an objective, and an action item. As we mentioned before, the goals are a general statement about a direction that we want the town to go into. The objective is about a measurable outcome. And you can think of the action items as specific tasks, and that will be assigned to a committee or a board or a town department or implementation partners. But again, action items are specific tasks.
And what, go ahead.
What we're hoping for next time is, again, if we could get some suggestions from you, we could come back to the committee with a draft of proposed goals based on your suggestions and based on our findings. So what are key priorities for housing? What could be done to increase diversity of housing?
So Elena, sorry, not to make you repeat yourself, so just so I'm clear, so I'll coordinate getting feedback from working group members about housing. We're focusing on housing.
We're focusing on housing. We could do economic development as well. You know.
Yeah, I think, you know, it might be a good idea to get feedback from for at least a couple, so that we can have I know housing is definitely is obviously always a big topic that people like to talk through and give it a little bit more attention. But I think, yeah, I mean, I wonder if we could do a couple, and so we have some substantive feedback by the next time. Just a suggestion.
Typically in 1 hour, committee can cover 2 chapters.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that seems like a good idea.
In an hour and a half, I would say 3 topics. So for next time, we can try to tackle housing and economic development.
Yeah, if the group is okay with that. Yeah. And I see Chantel's hand is up.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out like how it feels like we've already done some of this in some of our past meetings. I just don't know how well documented it is, because I know like we've had a really hard time as a group kind of staying at a high level and not going right to all the suggestions. It sort of feels like we've already done a lot of that. I don't but if the plan is to take 2 topics at the next meeting, then I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so under this housing topic, for example, we have one suggestion here for a goal with an objective, with one objective under that goal. So I think what we're asking the committee to do is to help formulate additional goals and additional objectives. So for example, under this goal of encouraging the production of affordable housing, I can probably think of several additional objectives and or action items. I mean, really right now we're focused more on goals and objectives. But we can suggest, additional goals and objectives under this topic, and, also on further down, there is some economic development takeaways and a sample goal and a couple of objectives. And there's one on quality of life here too in this document, which we don't have time to drill through all these this evening, but this is kind of the starting point for further committee discussion, as I understand it, that we're looking to the committee to help to develop additional goals and objectives at this point. Brian, you had your hand up?
Yes, could I just get a copy of that for the next meeting so I could just browse it and look at it before the meeting?
Yeah, this is all available. This is posted on the on the town website in the agenda center under agendas for the master plan working group.
It's also in our Dropbox, which I will copy that link right now. So everybody has it available.
And I should emphasize again that we're looking for very much high level statements and suggestions at this point. So not necessarily crafting the language into goals. But if you think, for example, that the town should diversify its tax base, that's really the key ideas that we would need to take and craft the goals, if that makes sense. So the task for the committee is not necessarily to labor over the language of a specific goal, but more to make a suggestion of a topic that we should include. Fiona, go ahead.
Yeah, just to make a suggestion so that there's a little bit more structure. So I would recommend, and CMRPC, let me know what you think about this, but having everybody send me max 3, because I feel like it depends, well, obviously the group can think about it, but I mean, I think like maybe 3 to 5 suggestions for each topic so that we have, I'm not getting pages upon pages of suggestions. Not that I think that would happen anyway, but just so we'll be able to move along at the next meeting.
And if I could add that, if you can send them 2 weeks to 10 days before the meeting so that we have time to incorporate it, that would be ideal. And Colleen, you had your hand up, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just thinking about all the emails Fiona's gonna get, and I know that a lot of them are probably gonna overlap. So would it make sense to just split the committee, like half of us work on housing goals, half of us work on economic development goals, so that you're gonna get more, just weed out some of the repetitiveness that you're probably gonna see, or does everybody want to do both? And I'll volunteer to do housing, I'll say that much.
That actually sounds like a smart strategy.
I'm okay with that.
I suspect that a lot of us have a stronger interest in one topic area than another. So it's probably not going to be the case that, in any case, however we organize it, it's probably not going to be the case that we all are going to be submitting suggestions for all these sections of the plan. But whatever, however we want to do it is fine. I think Brian had momentarily had his hand up.
No, I'm all set, thanks.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I think might be a good time to discern before we break who's going to be doing what. So we're not trying to figure that out after this. If that works for the group. And I'll just make a note of who's doing what topic.
Yeah. So are we starting out with sort of the 3 topics in the presentation there: housing, economic development, and what was the third one?
I think it's just those 2.
Just the first two. Realistically, that's how much we'll be able to cover in one session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so focus on housing and economic development.
Should I just pick on people?
Pick whichever one you're most interested in.
Okay. I'll start with, I'm not going to pick, but I'll just pick on people because it's easier. I'm gonna start and assume John Allen will want economic development, but
It's probably a good bet.
yes. Okay, great.
And Colleen's already
Sue?
signed up for housing.
Okay, Colleen, yep, that's right.
I like to go with housing as well.
Sure. How about you, Lindsay?
I'd like to go with economic development. And I might send you, is it okay if I send some, like, something on housing? Is that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's definitely not, black or
Okay.
white. So definitely, yeah.
I'll definitely more focus on the economic development. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. And Julie, who's yellow?
Economic development, please.
Awesome, thank you. All right, Linda?
I could go to economic development, which is something I really don't know all that much about, but if I stay with housing, I've been here, done that.
I like it. I love it. Okay, Bob? No, Bob's not an
I guess I'll
official
go.
member, but
I'll go with housing, as seems like we have a plethora for ED.
got it. Okay, perfect. Chantel?
I would like to do housing, but I'm happy to do economic development if we end up light on that later.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll make a note. Essek?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Chantel. I could go either just to balance it out.
Okay, great. Okay, Rashawn?
Yeah, I'll do the housing, please.
Great.
And maybe I'll send something on economic development, but
Okay.
primarily housing.
Sounds good. Anne-Marie?
Economic development.
All righty. Victoria?
Economic development, please.
All righty, thank you. Julie Grace?
Housing, please.
All righty. Deborah?
I'll do housing.
Okay, and George? Oh, yeah, George.
Housing, please.
Okay, and then Susan?
I can do either. I'll do economic development since it sounds like that one's a little bit less in numbers.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right now, confirmed economic development. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, okay, yeah, so 1, 2, 3, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Chantal and Essek, I'm someone I have to move to economic development. Do either of you have a preference?
I'll go to economic development. That's fine.
Okay, thanks, Essek. All right, awesome. So we are even, and then I'll send an email, Sarah and Elena, to the groups.
Thank you.
Okay, and then I think, or maybe I'll coordinate with Dave, or Dave can just tell me what to do. He is the chair.
And of course, I'm a housing person.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. Did I not call on you? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I think I just assumed I knew what you wanted.
I'll do everything, but yeah, I mean, housing is one of the topics that is by far of great interest to me.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Okay, great. So I'll coordinate that on my end, and then just make sure that everybody has everyone's information, which I think everybody does, and then everyone will send me a final, I guess the best way to do it is probably like a final Word document with all of their findings. And we'll upload it to the meeting materials for the next time, and then we'll be able to drill down on what we discussed.
Yeah, and just speaking of meeting materials and Dropboxes, Sarah just send out a link to or a chat that reminds us that the Dropbox up there that Fiona posted is just full of stuff, and actually we've got information relative to this committee distributed across at least 3 different places, And it's probably well that we are reminded of that from time to time. We got the Dropbox, which is maintained by Sarah and Company. That's got all the stuff that all the information that they've gathered up since they first started this project. We've got the agendas and minutes page on the town website, where the agendas and links to meeting materials are posted. We've got another master plan page on the town website that also has a lot of background information, particularly a lot of information that had been accumulated and put together prior to the start of this whole project. But there's like all these places that have information that's relevant to what we're doing. And I hate to think that we may be encountering some information overload here, but this is a big project, and there's an awful lot of relevant information that somehow we need ultimately to get it all together into one plan.
Right. Okay, so Sarah and Elena, if that works for you, then that's what we'll do, and we'll go from there. Okay.
All right, so we're off to a start on developing our goals and objectives.
One quick point. Could I also ask kindly for myself, if it's helpful to anyone else, for maybe a nice email reminder, perhaps a few days prior to the due date, just in case people are as forgetful as myself. I know that I could use the help.
Yeah, absolutely. I will do that for sure. Thanks, Victoria. So Sarah and Alina, I don't know if you wanted to touch base about the last few items before we break. I know that we are at time, but maybe we can just do a quick 2-minute summary of.
Sure. We could touch upon the business meeting that was hosted by EDC and John. We were invited to go to that to inform more business owners about the master plan. As some feedback we received was there was not many of them at our workshop. So we had a specialty event for them and learned oodles and oodles from them about what they'd like to see included in the plan. So that was a very successful night. We did not take a head count, but we estimated about 70 people were there. So great success. For stakeholder interviews, we're still cranking through those. I think personal requests, if there's anybody that could connect me personally to someone who could speak on sewer and somebody who could speak on schools, those are 2 gaps we have in the town services chapter. But that's ongoing homework. If there's somebody you think would be great for a stakeholder interview that has not yet been in the conversation, if you could email Fiona and Dave offline with those, that'd be very helpful. And we're trucking along with chapter development, which will be definitely go faster when we have more information on goals and policies from all of you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah.
Anything else on what's happening next? Any other questions or comments from any of the team members here? I notice we have an agenda item named public input, but we don't have any attendees other than the members of the committee here. Okay, correction. We do have one guest member, Bob Hassinger, who's not a member of the committee. So anything else? If there's nothing else, then the chair would be willing to recognize a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Fiona?
Mr. Chair. Sorry, I hate doing that to you though, but so just I wanted to clarify, so the date that responses need to be in is January 19th, but obviously that's not accurate. So just 2 weeks before.
Oh, I'm sorry. February 19th.
No, that's
Sorry.
okay. That's okay. I was like, as long as everyone knows that we actually mean February. Okay, perfect.
Let's clarify. next meeting is and the trends.
Okay with that. Did I hear a motion to adjourn? I think I did, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
Linda,
So,
Linda asked about when the next meeting is.
Let's make sure we schedule.
Yes, that's March 5th, 4th.
March 4th would be the next meeting, yes. Okay, did I miss anything else here?
It can't be
No,
March
5th.
4th unless it's a
No,
Tuesday.
this is February 5th.
Oh, this is 5th. Yes, then it's the 4th. This is leap year.
Yes.
Hmm.
All right. Did I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second.
Moved and seconded that this meeting be adjourned. Mr. Allen,
Approved? Aye.
Ms. Capizello,
Aye.
Mr. Carroll,
I
Ms. Duckworth,
Aye.
Ms. Duval,
Aye.
Ms. Fox,
Aye.
Ms. Foley,
Aye.
Ms. George,
Aye.
Ms. Grace,
Aye.
Ms. Hassinger,
Aye.
Mr. Hool, Ms. Kimball,
aye.
Mr. Petrie,
Aye.
Mr. Robbins votes aye, Ms. Robbins,
Aye.
Ms. Roy,
Aye.
Mr. Utangi.
Aye.
Declare the motion carried unanimously. We are adjourned. We'll see you in a month.